Morning, Bizzers. All right, so let's see what our view looks like today. So, still pretty gloomy today. Look, there's a mom. Okay. All right, so walking with my mom again this morning. For those of you who saw me yesterday, she's visiting from Ohio. And today I want to talk about progress over perfection. And this is like a huge thing that I hear a lot of entrepreneurs talk about, and how it's so important that we have progress and stop being a perfectionist. And for a perfectionist, this is a beautiful phrase. So someone like me, I need to remind myself things don't have to be perfect all the time. But for those of you who are not perfectionists, this is an excuse not to do things all the way through. So you have to be really careful about it. So if you have not listened to my podcast episode where I talk about Chloe and Kathy, and I can't remember if it's episode 1. It's one of the ones at the very beginning, maybe episode 1 or 2 or 3. And I talk about people who are perfectionists versus people who aren't, and I call them Chloe and Kathy. You should go and listen to that episode. Which, if you haven't been listening to my podcast, you should listen to my podcast. But you should definitely listen to that episode, because it's going to go into more detail about what we're talking about today. My mom's laughing at me. But today, I want to talk about that phrase, progress over perfection. And when I got up this morning, I had a note on my door from my daughter, and it said, get me up at 3 a.m. because I usually am up really early, although 3 a.m. is even early for me. But today happened to be the one day that I didn't get up early. I wasn't up until 5:30, which is actually pretty late for me. And so I see this note, and then I walk out. So I have a text message, and I walk in my room, there's a note on her door, there's a note on my door, there's a note on my computer screen, there's a note on my laptop. There was like 12 notes that all said, wake me up at 3 a.m., but I wasn't awake at 3 a.m., so I couldn't do it. And I'm like, oh no, she didn't get her homework done. And she's in these advanced classes, and they put a lot on them. And so we get in the car to take her to school, and she's working on it. And she tells us that her teacher assigned this really major grade yesterday that's due at 7 a.m. today. But she also had this huge project and all these other things. So she was up at 1 a.m., like she didn't go to bed. She was up at 1 a.m. and then she figured she'd get up at 3 a.m. to continue, which 2 hours of sleep is simply not enough for a teenager at school. So I got her up when I got up, and on the way to school, she is having to type in, like, work on this project in the car to try and get it done. So my mom and I are just quiet, and she's working on it. So we get to the school, she gets out, she's like, I'm gonna do my best to get it done, but it's due at 7, and who knows. So it got me thinking about what I was like when I was a teenager. And I had teachers that were unreasonable, which is what I think this teacher is, after lots of other things, not just this one event. And I am a perfectionist. But, I will say recovering perfectionist, I like that phrase. But I knew my teachers. And if I knew they were one of those teachers who would never give you an A, like it was impossible to get an A in their class, and they put me in a position like what she was in today, I would, not do a very good job. And there's a phrase for that, but I don't want to curse for you guys. And so I would know who my audience was, and I would know what I could get away with, and I would get away with what I had to in order to make my life function. So even as a perfectionist, I knew what it meant when I had to just get it done, so make progress. Because otherwise it wouldn't happen. I would get a 0. That wasn't acceptable to me. So I want to talk about this idea of progress over perfection. Okay, I'm putting you guys down for a second. I'm too hot. I can't get my coat off. Okay, I got it. All right, sorry. Brief interlude. I was like burning up. It's not even like that hot or whatever, but anyways. Good morning, Melissa. So, I knew I had to make progress in that situation. My daughter is not a perfectionist, but sometimes I think she struggles with that, where she feels like she has to get it completely right, especially with school. And so my question for you is this. Number 1, are you a perfectionist? And you probably know if you are or not. Number 2, if you are not a perfectionist, the phrase progress over perfection can become an excuse not to do a good job. And I've seen it time and time again. If you are a perfectionist, progress over perfection should be your mantra. Every single day you should remind yourself you don't have to be perfect. You should think about who your audience is and what you can get away with. Because frankly, most of your people probably don't care if you spent 5 minutes on your social media post or 3 hours. Just saying. They probably don't care if every single picture on your website is absolutely immaculate. Now, that's not an excuse to do a bad job, but it is an excuse to do a good enough job. So, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. What is your line, right? So yesterday, if you saw my TikTok, I posted about how dirty my room was, and then my office. And then if you saw this video yesterday, I talked about how I made it messy specifically for that TikTok. But the funny thing is, the behind the scenes of that is, my office was super, super bad 2 days ago, and my mom and I cleaned it. And then we knew we had to clean my closet. So then, when I wanted to do that TikTok, I was like, well, this is an incentive to clean my closet. So I took all the crap out of my closet, put it all over my room, and then I did that TikTok. And if you haven't seen it, you should go watch it so you know what I'm talking about. And then, yesterday, we cleaned my office, all the stuff from my closet, and organized my closet. But I just got a new computer. So I had all this extra computer stuff. And I had a box of random junk because of the computer and everything else. And it's like, is your office really clean if you still have a box of random junk? Well, I decided it was, and I put it up on the shelf and I was done. So, just want to encourage you guys to know who you are. And some of these mantras are geared towards a specific person. So don't use them as excuses, okay? So if you're a perfectionist, progress over perfection. If you are not a perfectionist, do not think that means you're allowed to be lazy. I just really love that we get to spend this time together every morning, and that I just kind of love you guys to bits. And I'm glad we get to live our dreams together every single day. So I hope to see you tomorrow. Who knows what we'll be talking about, because you guys know I base this on my life. If you need anything, definitely comment in the group. I'd be happy to help you. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time is the webinar where I go over the 2 videos, just 2, that you need to be making to reach your ideal customer, get constant traffic to your site, and actually get sales. It's all about becoming an expert and following the trends. So if you want to know more about that, myscheduledbiz.com/TikTok. And it is an hour and 15-minute webinar. It'll be at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, myscheduledbiz.com/TikTok. Melissa says, they so don't care if you spend 3 hours on a post. Just 1 box of random junk. Oh, hell yeah, that's spotless. Okay, so guys, have a great day, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.